important factors which affect inflation. Okay. So in this aspect, we will check whether the dependent variable which is continuous is normal or not. Look at the screen and check the null hypothesis. We are going to make null hypothesis. In some cases, you must have seen that researchers are framing alternative hypothesis. But here, in such aspects like on demographics or on this aspect of normalities, we always make null hypothesis. All the tests, whatever test we apply, is applied on null hypothesis. There is no test which is going to investigate alternative hypothesis. So all the tests either reject the null hypothesis or accept is the wrong word. We will say we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Never ever apply the thing that we accepted the null hypothesis or we accepted the alternative hypothesis. The only line which you have to report is that we have rejected the null hypothesis or we failed to reject the null hypothesis. So for each one of you, you are supposed to check normality of your main critical dependent variable, whether that was drawn from the population and whether it represents the behavioral aspect of normality or not. If your sample fails on this test, then you have to shift towards this non-parametric test. So if the cutoff point p value which we take in social sciences for 5%, 5%, two-tailed, 2.5 left hand side, 2.5 right hand side, that is the rejection area. That means we generally take alpha. 5% is alpha, and that alpha is that we do commit an error, and that error is type 1 error. सुना है इसके बाद? You must have heard of type 1 error. Either we commit type 1 error or we commit type 2 error. We cannot say that we have omitted error. In our life, we always commit an error. So type 2 error is a fatal error. That is called as beta. Type 1 error is called as alpha. Alpha is that the person was well within the normal curve. The person was well within the normal curve, but we have rejected that person to include it in the data analysis part. Let me just draw this thing for you, then we will prove this normality and then go for test one by one. Let us say in this diagram, this is the normal distribution curve and this is mean value and this is -1 standard deviation, -2 standard deviation, -3 standard deviation, +1, +2 standard deviation, +3 standard deviation. The alpha is 5%, which we call it as level of significance. Level of significance. That means if we apply two-tailed test, basically you should go for two-tailed test. In one of the research study, the person wrote that one-tailed test is like cheating. And that paper was written by Professor Ringeloj. He was one of the co-author. In higher education field, they published a paper and they got a citation also that it is the two-tailed test which is investigated whether or not is the scenario which we check. So 2.5 we take as the rejection level here and 2.5 out of 5% we take it rejection level here. Type 1, this is the acceptance region, 95%, and this is called as confidence interval limits. Your sample must be in the acceptance region. This confidence interval level is called as acceptance region, and this is 95%. That means your sample, whatever sample you have collected, must fall into the acceptance region also. Type 1 error is the person was here, and this is included in data analysis for generalization of the result. Type 1 is here, that the person was here. He was 2 standard deviation away from the mean, still under the standard normal curve, but we have not included that person into the results for generalization of the results. What is null? What is type 1 error? Rejecting the true hypothesis. rejecting the true hypothesis when the hypothesis was true, but we have rejected. That means the person was honest, but we have penalized him. Honest person is penalized. So type 1 is like the person was well within the standard normal curve, away from the mean, more than 2 standard deviation. At alpha, the plus minus 2 standard deviation is taken from the mean. Okay, if the level of significance is 1%, then we take plus minus 3 standard deviation. Then the confidence interval increases. 1% is more robust level of significance. But in social sciences, we take 5%. If somebody is here and we are included that person into the data analysis, then this is called as type 2 error, which we should not commit. That means the person was an outlier, but we are still taking this person into the results. Considering the false hypothesis is type 2 error. So either type 1 will happen or type 2 will happen. So what we choose? We choose type 1 error. It is by choice. We have to consider the results at 5% level of significance. So we do take two-tailed test, and with two-tailed test, 5%, we will report all the results. Parametric, non-parametric at 5%. If you want to take at 1%, the faculty like faculty in finance, they take at 1%. Results of, you can say finance literature is taken at 1%. So in social sciences like HR, marketing, psychology, law, media studies, these are taken at 5%, right? So in this regard, just have a look at this p-value. We will make sure that the null hypothesis has to be read carefully, because null hypothesis states that population is normally distributed. Now, do let me know whether you want to accept it or reject it. What do you want? Your population to be normally distributed? You want it? That means what should be the p-value? Less than 5% or more than 5%? If p-value is less than 5%, we reject null hypothesis. So what kind of p-value we look forward for normality? More than 5%. So either you remember it or you mug it up. But the point is that you must fail to reject the null hypothesis. This is the, even in time series for Jarque-Bera test, the hypothesis of normalities are always reverse. Generally, we want our null hypothesis to be rejected. But for normality, we want to write that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. This is what actually we want. So remember that normality test, if you want to apply the normality test, the p-value should be more than 5%. Because you have to write, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. We want this. We want this null hypothesis to be true. We want this. Therefore, you have to make sure that normality. So normality in a perfectly normal distribution, if your population is known to you and the parametric and the statistics are known to you, you know that population mean of Delhi is 2.5. If you say that IP University and all the affiliated colleges of IP University can give you results of entire university of BBA program. That means population is known of IP University. And the mean of BBA program of entire IP University can be ascertained. We can go to IP University Dwarka. We can ask from controller of examination, what is the mean value of entire BBA program of Delhi IP University? That means we know it. So in such a scenario, we can collect the data from representative samples of affiliated colleges of IP University and collect the samples from the students located in different institutes of IP University, because population is known for BBA students of IP University. So if you are conducting a study on student, survey is on student, then you know the population. You know what is there in CBSE, how many students are enrolled in 10th CBSE. CBSE can give you the data of entire population of India, that these are the total students who are enrolled in 10th class in CBSE. So population mean is also known to you. That means if the results are there, you see that CBSE is giving result, they are giving that the pass percentage of girls were higher than the pass percentage of boys. They are giving the results on the basis of mean value. That means they are giving you parametric test because population is known to CBSE. How many people, how many students are enrolled in CBSE, right? So in a perfectly normal distribution, the mean, median, and mode are same, right? Perfectly scenario. But the peak can vary. So you see that the middle value is called as the mean value for parametric test. But if we find that the values are not normal, the values are not normal. Let me give you a face of not normal. Look at this screen, this slide. The African American Hispanic, I mean, left hand side of this data, you see that they are not normally distributed populations, right? Not normally. They're skewed towards left side. Left side skewed results are there. Sample is like this. So we can go with median values. We can go with the median value, mid value of this Afro-American Hispanic, because mean doesn't hold any true, you can say, representative of the sample. Mean doesn't mean anything. Mean will come somewhere down the line on the another tangent. But the correct, that is why sometimes it is asked why median is a better test than mean. So this is the answer because median can capture the behavior of skewed results also. If your results are skewed, so median can give you the exact. You see the dotted lines, median is the correct way. Otherwise, mean will give you incorrect result. So correct application of test is required. So in this regard, let us check whether the how somebody can check the normality of the results. So these are the tests. Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, KS test is one. Shapiro-Wilk test is the test of goodness of fit test. These are the two tests. And the third is QQ plots, quantile plots are there. These are the three tests which we have to check in the continuous dependent variable of our sample which we have collected. Because you cannot say that entire students of CBSE I am going to check. From CBSE entire country you have collected data of 550 students. 550. So you will collect the data of CGPA of 550 students, right? Not the entire. So you go for normal QQ plots and Shapiro-Wilk and Kolmogorov. And if there is a conflict between the two, for example, KS test, null is rejected. And on Shapiro-Wilk, null is going to be accepted. Not accepted, but failed to reject. So there is a dispute between the two tests. So I have written that the better test is Shapiro-Wilk test. It is an exact test. It is a measure of goodness of it. It close to you can say the mean of population is 0 and standard deviation is 1. It is considered. It is more appropriate for sample sizes, although it can also handle larger sample size. But the I mean, the test which is applicable on both scenario is considered to be a better test. Shapiro will hold true. So if there is a dispute in your own result, there is a, conflict of the idea that I'm not able to take a decision whether Konglomorov is right or Shapiro is right. Base a decision on Shapiro will. You can search it out on any Google Scholar platform or Google. You will get the citation also from for this that which test is a better test and why it is a better test. So it is a more appropriate because it is based upon goodness of it test, right? It is an exact test. So let us go and open the file. Let us open the file. Uh, I have given you a file multiple regression execute. The name of the file is multiple regression underscore execute. Okay. So in one bench, if there is one laptop, good enough, you can see how the test is executed. If you want to note down the steps, where to click and where to get the results, that you should write down, right? Take a copy and note down how you can check the normality of the result. For this thing, let us understand the data first of all. Look at first column. The first column is achievement. These are the CGPA scores of the students. CGPA scores of the students. I mean, this is my dependent variable. Dependent variable means that how much CGPA students have scored. This is student number one. He has scored 6.13 CGPA, right? And let me tell you, this data is for average students. This is not of, good students, but an average students getting IS 6.3. So performance goal is measured on a scale of 0 to 100. It's a ratio data. So the performance goal, he has set a very low performance goal. The student, mastery of the subject. The mastery of the subject is scaled into 0 to 10. So he said my mastery of the subject is 5.71, right? He said I have not practiced much, but 5.71 is my mastery of the subject. If the score is 10 out of 10, that means he has mastered entire book. If his mastery is 2, he has not read the book. Interest is measured on to 0 to 10. He has given scale of 6, that my interest level is 6. I'm not interested into studies, right? Anxiety level. Anxiety level is 0 to 10. The anxiety level is 1.67. That means he has less anxiety level when he appear for the examination. And gender is 1. 1 means female. 1 means female. Remember this coding. 1 means female and 0 means male. Okay. This button, 1 oblique A, if you click, you will get the coding, which is given in the variable view. So 1 means female. So candidate number 1 is a female who has achieved fairly well in CGPA 6.13. Performance is okay. Not goal is not high. And mastery is average 6, interest is 6, anxiety is low, and socio-economic level, SES level, socio-economic level is high. That means she belong to higher income group. One is medium is middle income group, MIG, and low means LIG, lower income group. So socio-economic levels are three. They are three. One is one, three stands for high, two stands for MIG, one stands for LIG. So there are three categories of socioeconomic level. There are two categories of gender. My question to you is, now socioeconomic level is nominal data or ordinal data? Socioeconomic level is ordinal data or nominal data? Ordinal data, LIG, MIG, HIG, because income is the base. With some income as a base, we must have decided LIG. Who is LIG? We know who is BPL, below poverty line. If your annual income is maximum 1 lakh from all sources in 1 year, you are called as BPL. You can be given a card. That means income is the criteria to remark between BPL and non-BPL family. So we can rank LIG, MIG. Higher the income, more socioeconomic level status is there. Gender, male and female. This is nominal, right? We cannot rank females are better than males or males are better than females. So it is a nominal data. So we have got two data, which is categorical data. One is nominal, one is ordinal, and five data are on ratio data. Ratio data. Okay. So I want to check that achievement. Look at this. That y is equal to alpha plus beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2. How results are written like this: plus beta 3 x3 plus beta 4 x4 and beta 5 x5. Okay. Y is my CGPA. The student's CGPA is dependent upon what? Is dependent upon, number one was, look at your file. First variable is what is the goal setting done by the student? Goal setting, performance goals. Sometimes students fix low goal and they score low. Some students who said that I want to be IES, at least he will clear some entrance test. Number two is which variable is there? Mastery of the subject. That means CGPA is dependent upon mastery of the subject. X3 is what? Interest. Student must have some interest level. You see, even in the classroom, when you are teaching, there are some students, those who are interest levels are low, and they are generally sitting in the back, right? This is what is the normal trait and the behavior of students. You see, what are the traits and behavior? Front benchers are generally considered to be intelligent. They are looking in the board and other things. Back benchers are always talkative and they create the problems for the faculty. And who sits in the middle? Uninterested or okay, it's okay, fine. They don't, it's average kind of mindset is there. So interest level also decides the sitting position of the candidate also, right? Whether how much interested. X4, anxiety. You must have seen the front benches, their anxiety levels are very high. They are the ones, those who are reading the books. And then they eventually fails also many times. Because out of anxiety levels, they are not performing. And backbenchers, their anxiety levels are very less. They are performing better. So many times the results are also. So we are supposed to check that which is the most important predictor for CGPA. So we can check it with the help of beta. Whose beta is high, we are going to report that this beta is high. Therefore, this parameter has to be investigated by the faculty to get good CGPA for the future students, right? So beta is going to check the sensitivity of the independent variable on the variance of dependent variable, right? And there is another variable also. There is another variable also that is plus beta 6 x6. X6 is what? Gender. Can I take gender into nominal data into regression? Correlation regression. We started the lecture. Correlation regression are the parametric test which captures the data on ratio and interval data. But gender is a nominal data, right? Nominal cannot be taken. But if I convert nominal into binary, you know what is binary? 0 and 1. If I convert anything into binary, then I can take. Okay. So nominal data can be converted into binary number and then we can take gender. Therefore, we have coded the data into 0 and 1. Not 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is wrong regression, but 0 and 1 correct regression. So binary numbers are applicable in regression or ratio or interval. These are the three things which you have to understand and report in the regression. So anything which is ordinal in nature or binary in nature or interval in nature or ratio in nature can be taken into regression. So my dependent variable is CGPA. That the CGPA, this data, let us go to this data. Go to analyze. Go to analyze. Go to analyze and click on descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics and go to explore. These are the steps which you should note down. Analyze, descriptive. So if you are having your desktop, open this file, go to analyze, descriptive and click on explore. The moment you will click on explore, click on statistics. Click on statistics. What are the values which are coming? Outliers. Can you see outliers are there? So the first thing the researcher should do, he must find out the outliers. Outliers. So if this is the class of 60 students, if this is the class of 60 students, I have to do data analysis excluding outliers. Okay, whatever sample you are bringing from the population, whatever sample you are bringing from the population, you must remove the outliers first. We don't work with outliers, we work with normal respondents. So the first benchers and the last benchers, these are the extreme outliers. So I will work according to the rest of the class. So if first benchers are highly attentive and last benchers are highly not attentive, I will not focus much on them. The teacher teaches to the majority rest of the class. So the topper and the extreme ends, I should wipe it out. So should I throw them out of the class? No, my focus. So if they are not willing to listen, I will not bother much. If they are listening so much carefully, I will say, okay, they are fine. But my focus is on the general class. So outliers, you see the dependent variable. Dependent variable is level of achievement. You can put level of achievement on the dependent variable list. And then you can click on the outliers. First of all, you need to find out the outliers. Okay, find out the outliers. Have you got the outliers? Extreme values. So never ever work with extreme values. Try to remove these extreme values from your data set. Your dependent variable was CGPA. So will you work with the toppers and the droppers? No. Toppers are already intelligent. Droppers are not going to work hard, right? So make sure that when you work with customer loyalty as the dependent variable, customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, job satisfaction, some people are working on organizational performance. Work on those organizations excluding outliers. So first of all, try to find out. So in case of respondent number 102, 146, 105, and 30 roll number, these are the toppers. Their CGPA is very high, 6.25, 6.136, 5.63. You may consider or you may not consider 5.50 to be an outlier. But the lowest is 11111. They are not going to, you can say, facilitated by your research outcome. From 1, how much they can score? 1.5 or maximum 2, double their spirit. If they double time, they do hard work. So think of such extreme values. You have to remove this outlier and work with the remaining data and then do data operations on the remaining data. So outlier testing is one, and you should go with outlier testing dependent variable wise, because that is what is most important task in your R square is going to be calculated for dependent variable. It is the dependent variable which is predicted. It is the dependent variable which is forecasted. It is the dependent variable whose variance is in matter of interest to you. So on the basis of your DV, try to find out outliers and then work with the normality test. Okay. So Komlomorov, Smirnov, and Shapiro-Wilk. Go to analyze. You see, this is the plot. Can you see normality plots with test and the histogram? Histogram and normality plots with tests. So software is enabled with KS and Shapiro-Wilk. First of all, the duty of the researcher is to remove the extreme values, work with the normal people, and then check the normality. So continue. If you, so here we will shift our base. So if you see, the mean values and other things are there, but look at KS test. What is the p value of KS test? Go to analyze, go to descriptive statistics, go to explore. And in explore, put all your DVs. You can put all the DVs. So software will give you. So DV is my CGPA, which I am going to determine. CGPA is dependent upon, we have discussed now, right? So go to plots, click on plots and click on histogram and normality plots with test. Two tests will be there, KS test and Shapiro will come. Okay. So this is my KS test level of achievement by the students, that is CGPA. The test statistics is 0.064, but the p value is 20%. It is more than 5%. Level of significance is 5%. So KS test is suggesting what? It is suggesting we failed to reject the null hypothesis. And what was null? Null is that population from where we have drawn the sample is normally distributed. That means KS has given that you are fit to apply parametric test. While Shapiro said on dot 5%, on dot. Shapiro will is exactly 5%. So what is the, if the value is 5% or less than 5%, 5% or less than 5%, we reject the null hypothesis. And null was, population was normally distributed. Now Shapiro is telling that this data is not normally distributed, while KS is saying that it is normally distributed. So out of the two, you are going to focus on Shapiro-Wilk test, right? You have to choose Wilk test and you will say that the CGPA is not behaving in a normal distribution curve as defined by the Gaussian ideal curve of normal distribution. The bell-shaped curve is an ideal curve given by Gaussian. No, it can differ. Yes, that is why if there is a conflict, so the better test is saying that either you increase the sample size. This is sample of 60 students. A class of 60 is taken. So for class of 60, Shapiro-Wilk is more appropriate for smaller sample size. So Shapiro is better test if the sample size is low. And you have to work according to Shapiro that the population is not normally distributed. Now I cannot apply parametric. Still, if you apply parametric, then you are doing wrong research. Because there is a caveat. I guess I have given a caveat here. Yes, there is a caveat which everybody must understand. It is important to note that using the wrong test can result in completely wrong findings. You might be good in correct data, operation of SPSS and getting the good results, but the findings are incorrect. So if you give this KS and Shapiro in the research paper, so reviewer will always check what was the sample size. You will say 60. He will see your Shapiro and he will say why you have gone for parametric. While Shapiro is saying that it is non-parametric, you should have applied U test and H test. Therefore, your paper is rejected. Okay. So this is how, but this much line he will not write because he will not waste his time. He will say reject. So we don't know why our paper was rejected because they will not guide you. They assume that you are well learned researcher. So the tests are very simple. We have only gone for, but the application must be clear to us Before we go for t-test, which is a parametric test, and one-way ANOVA, which is parametric, we must know whether they are applicable or not. So, I mean, many researchers blindly apply t-test and one-way ANOVA. I mean, not giving this KS and Shapiro. So try to understand, and there can be. Therefore, I have given you a file. There is a conflict also. Majority of the times, both will be telling that normally distributed. Both, but it can happen. So in workshops, data are running very nicely. But when we take our own data and then we say there is a conflict, then who is going to tell workshop is over, professor is gone, right? So in all these scenarios, you should be ready. Both KS and Shapiro can tell you that the p-value is more than 5% or less than 5%, but a conflict can also be there. So if your sample size is low, always prefer Shapiro. But if your sample size is large, focus on KS. That is why in PhD, because PhDs are not working with low sample size like 100, 200, 250. Generally, PhDs are with large sample size. Therefore, they are reporting KS. Because if you see the line which is written here, Shapiro-Wilk is more appropriate for smaller sample size. PhDs are done on 385, 400. Therefore, all research scholars must report KS test if they are working with a large sample size, but they have to prove that my data was normal or not normal. This is the point of split off. And now, if I want to just understand that non-parametric is the answer because this is the output. If you see, this is the output and its output, the p-value of Shapiro-Wilk says that we reject the null hypothesis. So try to remember always null hypothesis of this Shapiro-Wilk and KS and learn how to interpret. Then you go for a test. So first of all, I am going with parametric test. So in every 5 minutes, we will be conducting a parametric test. Okay. Then we will be conducting non-parametric test. If this is not there, then this is applicable. So let us assume that the population is normally distributed and sample was drawn and is behaving in a normal fashion. Bell curve. Okay. Look at first test. Let us go for first test. And if I want to drive to Chandigarh, I will not go towards Gurgaon. If I want to drive here, I will go there. I'll go from this side, the Nal bypass, and then go to Chandigarh. This is the objective. I want to travel over there. In research also, if my objective is to test a scenario, so then I will apply a particular test. So I will write objective first and then test. If that objective is your objective, you can apply the test. But if your objective is not going Chandigarh, then there is no fun of going over there. So first objective, write down. First objective, if I want to compare population mean, now I am working on parametric first. Next 20 minutes is on parametric. I want to compare, so I will work with mean. If I want to compare population mean with sample mean, okay, let us say GGIPU DBA mean. Can I get it from a controller of examination? I can get. And go to Dwarka and I can ask with a request and they can give me. Can I compare with the MAIMS BBA mean? Can I compare? This I can compare only if population mean is known to me. If population mean is not known to me, then I cannot apply parametric test. I have to go to non-parametric test. So if I am going to compare whether my students have outperformed IP University, then I will go for which test? One sample t-test. One sample. I'm only comparing that mains students are better than IP or lesser than the IP. Okay, you see that the result of Delhi 10th class is compared with overall CBSE pass percentage. Overall CBSE pass percentage is 78%. So Delhi school students, they say, look, our average was 96%. CBSE overall is 78, mine is 96, so I'm better than all CBSE students. My school is much better, so that they can do good branding. So if this is the objective, so you are supposed to apply one sample t test. But the condition is population mean must be known to me. Okay. So let us see this class. This is CGPA of 60 students, right? 60 students are there for CGPA. I can go to analyze. Now write down steps. Go to analyze, go to compare. This compare means, because I'm working with means. That means I'm working with parametric test. I'm working with mean. I'm not working with median. For median, there is non-parametric test. These are working with medians. This option is working with medians, but this option is working with means. So the basic difference of mean and median must be known to you. So in this PPT, I have given figures also so that you can understand why median is important, why mean is important. So one sample, level of achievement, test variable, right? These are my students of names. Fine. And let us say the CGPA of IP University, average mean of IP University is 3. Okay. So this test value 3 must be known to me. That means I know my population. But as I've said that, can you know how many people are using smartphone for using Blinkit to buy groceries at home? Do you know such data? How many people are using smartphones for applying Blinkit for buying groceries at home? There's no data. So we cannot apply this test. So by default, we have to go to an alternative of this test. Okay. So we will go for alternative. So I will perform one parametric and one non-parametric for one sample. Okay. So if population mean is known to me, I can go to and put the value. Now look at the output. Output, what is the p value here? The p value is two-tailed. Just look at the two-tailed sign value, SIG 0.002. This is less than 5%. When it is less than 5%, we reject the null hypothesis. And what was null hypothesis? Null is always prepared into no kind of thing. Okay. So let me just first of all write this null hypothesis also. Null. There is no significant difference between what mean of population and mean of sample. यही होती है ना. आईपी यूनिवर्सिटी एंड मेंस कोई अंतर नहीं है, सेम है. And p value is explaining it is less than 5%. Therefore, we have rejected the null hypothesis, and we will say that there is a difference between the students of MAIMS and IP University. And from the output, we can check whether our students are better or university students are better. So look at the output. The output says, who is better? Mean score दिया हुआ है. Check out. Your students are scoring 3.34 while university was getting 3. So yours are better. So you can say there is a significant difference, and my students mean is better than the IP University. IP University mean was 3, mine is 3.34. Therefore, there is a significant difference. It may happen that there is no significant difference. 3 go. I have gone to controller of examination and I have got the population mean. Otherwise, we cannot apply this test and we have to apply non-parametric test. Okay. For one sample. Right? So the test value is given here. We have given the test value because we have collected the data of test value. Right? Objective number 2. What is objective number 2? Objective number 2 is, let me write here. Objective number 2. I want to check whether CGPA differs across gender. Gender was divided into 0 and 1. That means there are 2 categories. I want to check whether the CGPA of my students, males and females, is there any significant difference between male and female of previous student of MAIMS? 1. This is the objective. So I have got CGPA, I have got the data of male also, I have got the data of female also. In this case, I will apply what? I will apply independent sample t-test. So if your objective is this, whether my sale differ into north or east, if inflation differs in Brazil and Russia, if gold prices differ in UK and USA, gold prices are given, gold prices are your dependent variable, but country is UK, country is, so I can say that here instead of there, gold prices, whether they are different in UK and USA, countries are 2. Whenever the factor is divided into 2, we go for independent sample t-test. So now you can say that your study is loyalty, whether loyalty differs across gender or not, male, female only. Whether males are more loyal or females are more loyal. Job satisfaction across gender. Job satisfaction across marital status. And this data is nominal data. And this data CGPA is ratio data. So this is the assumption. These are conditions. So I have written the assumptions slide wise. What are the assumptions of t-test also? That one variable must be continuous, another must be nominal. And second condition is the categories must be 2. If there are more than 2, then we will go for another test, ANOVA. So in this case, let us go back to the file. This is my file. Write down the steps. Go to analyze. Go to compare means. And click on independent sample t-test. So in good thesis, you will find this test. In every good thesis, you will find it is not an ordinary test. You will find many good emerald papers with independent sample and one-way ANOVA. In Scopus, if you put customer loyalty, one-way ANOVA t-test, you will get papers, good papers. They are not ordinary tests. They are parametric tests, better tests, robust tests. So if you say, what is this t-test? What is this one-way ANOVA? Bring SAM. So it is not, it is equivalent to SAM also. Because it is meeting your objective. You want to check. So you want to put this objective. If this is your objective, go with the independent sample t-test in your PhD. So if you click on this test, level of set achievement CGPA into test variable, CGPA into test variable, and grouping variable will be gender. So you will put gender into grouping variable, and it is asking us 2 question marks. Define the groups. So define the groups. I know that the data was coded into 0 and 1. 0 and 1. So in t-test, there is only option for 2 categories. not 3 categories, 4 categories. There are only option is for 2 categories. So you can put on continue and simply click on OK. Now see the output. What is the mean of males and what is the mean of females? 3.59 is for male and 3.27 is for female. That means boys are intelligent in this class. Boys are intelligent. Might be this class of mechanical engineers. Boys are more intelligent in mechanical engineering, right? By default. So, is there any significant difference between the two? Is there any significant difference between the two? So, check the t-test p-value. What is the p-value for t-test? Where is the value? P-value. P. Significance value is p-value. It is 0.205.
0.203.
205 no? Equal. Huh? So the null hypothesis is there is no significant difference in the mean of males and females for CGPA. There is no significant difference for male and female. So the p-value is 20.5%. It is more than 5%. So therefore, we failed to reject the null hypothesis and we say boys and girls are same. Boys and girls are same, but still with the value of mean, you can say boys are slightly better than the girls. Significant difference is not there, but on the contrary, boys are better. So such results are also there. People are in the habit. Researcher, you see, researchers focus only on p-value. They say this is significant, this is not significant, and people are asking, what is your finding? They will say, sir, it is not significant. He will again ask, what is your finding of this study? So he will never ever identify. He must say, the major finding is, although there is no significant difference, but boys are better than girls into this class. Mean. Yes. First criteria is significant difference. Second is basic difference. On the group statistics, the mean of boys is 3.59, which is better than 3.27. This is an indication, but significant is not there. That has to be shown by p-value. And Levine is additional test which is given in independent. It checks whether the variances are equal or not. It may happen that mean might differ, but variances differ. So variance is also 5, 6, 7. There is no significant difference in the variance also. Variance are also same, but on the face value, you can say boys are better. So as a teacher, you have to focus that why girls are not performing just like boys. So let us see where is the issue. So I will try to find out issue from the girls section. Okay. That is recommendation which you have to put for the faculty, because you are writing not paper for yourself. You are writing for somebody, target audience. So there must be 4 to 5 target audience for your research paper. Not even 2 is enough. So here you can say the management of the institute, they should focus that what is happening to the girls, why they are not performing. 2, teacher has to focus in the class. So there are at least 2, you can say target audience for this kind of study. CGPA across gender. So finding practical implication paragraph you have to write for the target audience. So many times even our papers are rejected many times on practical implication. Data analysis, we are through, but we are caught in practical implication. We are caught in introduction. We are married. There is a habit that 20, 25 times we get rejections. But by the time reviews are there. So we are going slightly better every time when we get a rejection. By the time 26th person accept our paper, then we say that now we have catered to their requirements. So these are few of the requirements which they look forward in their papers. That for whom you are writing paper, what is your major finding? If somebody is only focusing on p-value, that is a raw candidate. That look, p-value was 205. I have failed to reject the null hypothesis. That means boys and girls are same. This is a standard basic level researcher who is writing a paper. Objective number 3. Yes. Levine, variance. Significant. Equal variance. Null क्या होता है? All or same. Either of the two. Will focus on. हाँ. Even then, you should say that we are focusing on that variances were same, means were same. That was our null. We have not framed our null on not, you can say equal variances are not. So that is an alternative hypothesis. Hmm. That means, huh, if Levine was less than 5% and t-test was more than 5%, so you should say that means, are same, but there is some variance in the you can say CGPA. So now the investigation should be done that from which factor that variance is coming, because variance is R square. That is the variance is coming from mastery of the subject, interest of the subject. So here you can say even variances are same. दो t value. Mean and variance are two separate measures. उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. उसका मतलब आपने अगर नल बनाया है, इक्वल वेरिएंसेस आर नॉट अज्यूम्ड. अगर आपने वो नल बनाया होता तो नल एक ही बनता है और वो ये होता है इक्वल वेरिएंसेस अज्यूम. That there is no significant difference in the variance, Levine. There is no significant difference in the t test. एक ही मान के चलना है नल. दो नल बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है. वो एक मतलब एडिशनल, अगर आपको अगर ये नल मान के चलना है तब भी, वो नल मान के चलना तब भी, दोनों में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है. ऊपर वाले की इक्वल वेरिएंसेस. हाँ. नहीं. लेविन only report 4 values: f value, p value, t value, p value. Also, sometimes we copy and paste this table. There is no need of copy and paste. That is an indication of a layman working on a paper. You are supposed to make your own tables. So don't take every garbage which is coming from the software. You need only 4 values: Levine, f value, p value. T-test, just t value 1.272 and p value 205. That's it. And make your own table. Make your own Excel table or write it in the paragraph. Or, you say that male being mean is, you need 3.597 and you need the female with 327. And in the bracket, you can give the number also. Males were 32. 32 boys are better than 108 girls. Right? Null हमेशा नो में ही बनाना है. There is no significant difference in the variance. This is reject. This is, we fail to reject. That means both are same. Variances are same and means are also same. Almost the same. Variances of boys and girls are also same. Means are also same. But on the face value, you can say that boys are better. Significant, बहुत बड़ा difference नहीं है, but छोटा बहुत तो है. वो छोटा बोथ भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अ मैनेजमेंट और फॉर अ फैकल्टी। यस, लेकिन एक तरीका है उसको एज अ मॉडरेटर लेकर, सीधा नहीं ले सकते, और एज अ बाइनरी जरूर ले सकते हैं, बट नॉट एज एन इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल। वो एज अ कंट्रोल वेरिएबल लिया हो, नॉट एज एन आईडी। जैसे जेंडर है ना, जेंडर इज नेवर एवर टेकन एज आईडीवी, इट कैन बी ट्रीटेड एज अ कंट्रोल वेरिएबल, सीवी। इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ जेंडर लॉयल्टी इज मेजर्ड, और वो भी 0-1 करके। राइट। हाँ जी। तब भी कर लेते, बिकॉज इन द सॉफ्टवेयर वी कैन पुट 1 and 2। वो तो पूछ ही रहे हैं आपने कोडिंग कैसे की है। ऑलवेज इट इज प्रेफरेबल दैट यू कोड इन 0-1। हाँ, for two categories always code 0 and 1, because life is easy for the researcher, you can apply anytime। बस पहले 1 and 2 फीड करें, फिर 0-1 में कन्वर्ट करें, फीड ही 0 and 1 में करना चाहिए। सो ऑब्जेक्टिव 2 इज क्लियर, टू कैटेगरीज। शुड आई मूव टू द थर्ड कैटेगरी? थर्ड देखिए, जस्ट सी द थर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव। थर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव इज, if I want to check, if I want to check CGPA, whether CGPA differs across socio-economic levels. Now you know that socio-economic levels were categorized into three categories: LIG, MIG and HIG, और हमने इसको कोड किया था 1, 2 and 3। If the categories are more than two, you cannot apply t-test. We can apply one way ANOVA, इसके बाद हम 2 way ANOVA भी करेंगे। वन वे नोवा, वन वे मीन्स वेरिएबल इज वन, सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल। इसके बाद वी विल डू 2 वे नोवा, देयर विल बी टू वेरिएबल्स, इनकम भी ले लेंगे और जेंडर भी ले लेंगे। जेंडर भी अगर आपको लेना है और सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल भी लेना है तो 2 वे नोवा लगेगा, लेकिन एक के साथ करना है। इफ वी आर सपोज टू डू इट विद वन, सो वन वे नोवा, दैट इज व्हाई वन वे नोवा इज द नेम। इफ द कैटेगरीज आर मोर देन टू, so let us go to same file and go to analyze, compare means and one way ANOVA. One way ANOVA. In the test variable, we will put CGPA, test variable CGPA, and in the factor, we will put socio-economic level of the students, LIG, MIG, HIG. You can code 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 10, 15, whatever is the number. So software will pick three categories. And now it will not ask whether you have coded 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, because their categories can be 10 categories. In one of my case study, I wrote it in Vardhaman Textiles Limited, that the sale of Vardhaman Textile for hand knitting yarn, how it differs across 44 shades. Vardhaman hand knitting yarn is generating, hand knitting yarn वो जो स्वेटर बनता है जिससे, उसके 44 शेड्स बनाता है। और सेल डिपो में से हमारे को सेल डेटा दे दिया वर्तमान के जो वाइस प्रेसिडेंट मार्केटिंग थे। सो वी वांटेड टू कंडक्ट, सो आई पुट वन वे अनोवा फॉर 44 शेड्स एंड ऑब्जर्व कि कौन से शेड के अंदर सबसे ज्यादा सेल आ रही है, कौन से शेड के अंदर आपकी कम से कम सेल आ रही है। So that result actually benefited for vice president marketing, and he decided upon to drop the production of least, you can say, revenue generated shade of Vardhaman ke hand knitting yarn. So he focused on good, you can say, sales generating products rather than wasting on such shades out of 44। एशियन पेंट में होते हैं इंटीरियर एक्सटीरियर वॉल्स, एशियन पेंट्स की भी तो शेड्स होंगे ना। तो अगर आपको ज्यादा कैटेगरीज पे चेक करना है, ईस्ट वेस्ट नॉर्थ साउथ में सेल्स, अगर आपको चेक करना है कि मेरा जो एडमिशन हो रही है वो कौन से स्टेट से हो रही है, आपके पास तो डेमोग्राफिक्स आ ही रहे हैं इतने। 60 सीटों के लिए अगर 700 फॉर्म्स आ रहे हैं तो 700 फॉर्म्स को आप डालिए वन वे नोवा के अंदर। कि एडमिशन इनटेक, आपकी फीस आई होगी, आप चेक करिए पूरे अपने स्टूडेंट्स जो एडमिटेड हुए हैं कि अक्रॉस जेंडर यू कैन चेक. Admission means revenue for institute. So revenue is going to be your CGPA here, and gender you can put कि लड़कियां ज्यादा आई हैं, लड़के ज्यादा आए हैं, कौन से काउंट ज्यादा है, और कौन सी स्टेट से आए हैं, कहाँ से इनका ज्यादा इनपुट आ रहा है एडमिशन के लिए. प्लेसमेंट का भी कर सकते हैं. प्लेसमेंट कितने रुपए की हुई, मान लो 100 बच्चों की प्लेसमेंट हुई, किसी की 4,50,000 में हुई, somebody has got 8,50,000. You write down all the placement data and put it under the dependent list, और आप अपना डालिए कि बीबीए के बच्चा था, बीकॉम का बच्चा था, कि बीसीए का बच्चा था. 3 कैटेगरीज. कौन सा सेक्शन आपका प्लेसमेंट ज्यादा जनरेट कर रहा है, ड्राइव कर रहा है. सो फॉर एन इंस्टीट्यूट इट इज गोइंग टू बी यूजफुल दैट प्लेसमेंट कौन सा डिपार्टमेंट पीछे है, कौन सा डिपार्टमेंट आगे है. So objective will define the application of the test. तो सोशो इकोनॉमिक हो गया. अब इसमें क्लिक ऑन ऑप्शंस, क्लिक ऑन ऑप्शंस, यू नीड डिस्क्रिप्टिव, तभी तो पता लगेगा मीन किसका है. यू नीड डिस्क्रिप्टिव, यू नीड फिक्स्ड एंड रैंडम इफेक्ट, यू नीड होमोजेनिटी ऑफ द वेरिएंस. आपको लवीन भी चाहिए, क्या वेरिएंस में तो नहीं अंतर है कहीं. If you want to advance this test one way nova, then advanced tests are Brown and Welch. Brown and Welch can support or give extension or additional, you can say support to one way nova. तो ये टेस्ट कोई अलग से टेस्ट नहीं है. जैसे काई स्क्वायर में भी टेस्ट होता है ना कि आपके दो टेस्ट और होते हैं, नॉमिनल और ऑर्डिनल के लिए. सो इसमें ब्राउन और फॉर्सिथ एंड वेल्च, दीज आर एडिशनल टेस्ट. सो वी कैन क्लिक continue and click on post hoc. For example, there are 3 categories. Within 3 categories, there are 3 categories. So within 3 categories, let us say this, I can compare unmarried versus married, unmarried versus broken, and married versus broken. So even in one way Nova, there are 3 t-tests. वन वे नोवा के अंदर 3 कैटेगरीज थी ना, तो 1 versus 2, दिस इज टी टेस्ट. सो आई कैन डू 3 t-tests simultaneously by clicking on post hoc. So this is post hoc. In post hoc there are so many tests. So some people apply टक्की as the best test, जो हमने बुक्स में पढ़ा हुआ है, जोसेफ वेयर की बुक्स में. बट least square dummy, this is also considered to be a test. Tucky. So it, every test is dependent upon different assumptions. जैसे कि ये REGWQ है, this assumes कि बॉयज भी 30 थे, गर्ल्स भी 30 थी. अगर 30-30 इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन है तो आप REGWQ लगाओगे. तो एवरी टेस्ट हैज गॉट हिज ओन assumption, बट द बेसिक लेवल ऑफ टेस्ट इज LSD. और ये क्या अज्यूम कर रहे हैं, इक्वल वेरिएंस, नॉलेज वेरिएंस इज वर्सिल, लवीन लवीन, ये सारे उसके लवीन के. ठीक है. इफ यू वांट टू चेक इक्वल वेरिएंस इज नॉट अज्यूम, तो आप नीचे आप डनेट्स का टेस्ट लगा लीजिए, गेम्स ओवर लगा लीजिए. इसलिए दोनों में से हमने एक ही लिया. टी टेस्ट दोनों ही दे देता कि अगर आपने ये मान के चले हैं तो क्या है, वो मान के चले तो क्या है. सो LSD and click on OK. Now you see what are the results. LIG का मीन है, MIG का मीन है, HIG का मीन है. Whose mean is high? HIG. Mean of HIG is 4.21. That means जो बच्चे रिच हैं उनके मार्क्स अच्छे हैं, ऐसा है ना. यही हुआ ना. द मीन स्कोर ऑफ HIG, क्योंकि उनके पास फैसिलिटीज अच्छी हैं, रिसोर्सेज अच्छे हैं, दे कैन अफोर्ड ट्यूशंस, दे कैन कम ऑन ए कार, तो फैसिलिटीज दे सकते हैं, बुक्स मिल सकती है अच्छी, पैसे की कमी नहीं है. So we can find out so many factors later on, but on the basic level we can say that तीनों मीन डिफरेंट है, लेकिन क्या सिग्निफिकेंटली डिफरेंट है, आर दे सिग्निफिकेंटली डिफरेंट. फॉर LIG, MIG, HIG, look at the p value. अनोवा में देखनी है, अनोवा में p value, it is less than 5%, is less than 5%. So there is a significant difference between the mean of LIG, MIG, HIG for CGPA. CGPA डिफर करती है अक्रॉस सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल्स, और सबसे हाईएस्ट किसकी है? HIG। ओके, ठीक है। फिर किसका आ रहा है? LIG का। गरीब बच्चे मेहनत से पढ़ रहे हैं, और जिनको कुछ कुछ रिसोर्सेज मिल जाते हैं वो सोशल मीडिया ही देख रहे हैं। ये हमें आगे फिर फाइंड आउट करना है रिसर्च से कि इनका क्या रीजन है, उनका क्या रीजन है, इसका क्या रीजन। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज रिसर्च। नॉवेल्टी के साथ पेपर पब्लिश होते हैं कि आपने सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस तो फाइंड आउट कर लिया, बट अब रिग्रेशन पे जाइए और चेक करिए कि HIG किस फैक्टर के कारण पढ़ रहे थे, LIG किस फैक्टर के कारण पढ़ रहे थे। क्या पता इंटरेस्ट लेवल ऑफ LIG बहुत ज्यादा हाई था, मास्टरी ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट HIG वालों की हाई थी, उन्होंने ट्यूशन रख ली LN में जाके और जेई नीट की तैयारियां कर रहे हैं, उनके पास पैसे हैं। इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू गेट कोचिंग फॉर नॉन मेडिकल, बट इंटरेस्ट लेवल और मास्टरी LIG की अच्छी थी, इसलिए उनका मीन अच्छा आ रहा है, और मीडियम वालों का 3.03 है लास्ट में। सो यू कैन फाइंड आउट, वी आल्सो फाइंड आउट फॉर 44 शेड्स, यू कैन फाइंड आउट फॉर 3 or 4 कैटेगरीज। So one way NOVA investigates that whether it is CGPA differs across more than 2 categories. So variance में कोई difference नहीं है, the p value is 222, but mean में difference है। Yes, there is a difference in the mean, और क्योंकि हमने पोस्ट ऑक भी किया था, अब रोबस्ट टेस्ट भी यही बता रहे हैं, वेल्च भी यही बता रहा है, ब्राउन भी यही बता रहा है कि हाँ मीन में डिफरेंस था, देयर वाज अ डिफरेंस ऑफ मीन फॉर द मीन सीजीपीए स्कोर्स, सीजीपीए स्कोर के मीन में डिफरेंस। पोस्ट ऑक, लुक एट पोस्ट ऑक, इन पोस्ट ऑक if you want to compare, look at the first box, low versus medium, सिर्फ फर्स्ट बॉक्स ही देखना आपको, लो वर्सेस मीडियम, द p वैल्यू इज 904। देखिए आपको 904 वैल्यू, p वैल्यू। इज देयर एनी सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस बिटवीन LIG एंड MIG? नो, LIG और MIG में सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस नहीं है, लेकिन किसका मीन ज्यादा है, LIG का कि MIG का? LIG का, क्योंकि मीन डिफरेंस इज पॉजिटिव। LIG minus MIG value is A minus B is equal to positive, that means A was greater, A minus B is equal to positive, A was greater, A LIG था, B MIG था, और वैल्यू मीन डिफरेंस इज 0.028, दैट मींस LIG के बच्चों का मीन ज्यादा था लेकिन सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस नहीं था। लो वर्सेस हाई, देयर इज अ बिग सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंस बिटवीन LIG एंड HIG, और वैल्यू है -115, दैट मींस B was greater, A minus B is equal to minus, that means B was very very big kind of value, वो माइनस में आ गई। तो मीडियम और लो के बीच में तो चेक कर चुके हैं, मीडियम और हाई, मीडियम और हाई, yes there is a signal. So in one way ANOVA there are 3 t test also, so you can also test with post op, आपको बस 3 t test की वैल्यू ऐसे उठानी है, पहले उठानी है लो वर्सेस मीडियम, लो वर्सेस हाई, देन मीडियम वर्सेस हाई, दैट्स इट। बाकी सारी रेपिटेटिव है, बाकी रिपीट है। 1 वर्सेस 2, 2 वर्सेस 3, 1 वर्सेस 3, 3 टी टेस्ट, सिर्फ मीन डिफरेंस और पी वैल्यू, मीन डिफरेंस पी वैल्यू, मीन डिफरेंस पी वैल्यू, तो वन वे नोवा ही है। ठीक है, चले मूव टू टू वे नोवा, जेंडर भी लेंगे और सोशल इकोनॉमिक लेवल भी लेंगे। ऑब्जेक्टिव नंबर 4, ऑब्जेक्टिव नंबर 4, if I want to check interaction effect also, इंटरेक्शन इफेक्ट समझते हैं, जेंडर मल्टीप्लाइड बाय सोशियो इकोनॉमिक लेवल, क्या ये सिग्निफिकेंट प्रेडिक्टर है मेरा? इफ आई वांट टू चेक जेंडर लीड्स टू सीजीपीए, सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल लीड्स टू सीजीपीए, और कंबाइंड इफेक्ट ऑफ सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल एंड जेंडर लीड्स टू सीजीपीए। ठीक है। जैसे कि मैं बात करूं सर्विस क्वालिटी, इक्वालिटी, लेट अस से द क्वालिटी इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू मी। ठीक है, लेकिन प्राइस भी इंपॉर्टेंट है। क्वालिटी एंड प्राइस, दीज आर टू इंपॉर्टेंट पैरामीटर है, मैं फोन खरीद लूंगा। इफ क्वालिटी एंड प्राइस टुगेदर आई एम टेकिंग एज एन डिसीजन मेकिंग क्राइटेरिया, तो क्या मैं वो देखूं दोनों का कंबाइंड इफेक्ट? तो इन दैट केस यू आर सपोज टू स्विच टू टू वे नोवा, तो आपको टू वे नोवा लगाना पड़ेगा। ठीक है। तो मैं जेंडर मल्टीप्लाइड बाय सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल, अब हमारे को करके देखना है। सो जस्ट go to the file back again, go to analyze, go to analyze, go to general, general linear model, and put the dependent variable here. Let me just expand. General linear model univariate. This is my level of achievement, CGPA. So I want gender and socio-economic level. These are my two factors. Gender has got two categories. Socio-economic level has got three categories. That means one variable can cater to t-test. One variable can cater to one-way NOVA also. Right? Gender was for t-test. Socio-economic level was for one-way NOVA. Now I have put both. Right? So there is no need to do anything into the model. Yes, this is important now for you. You have to tell the software that I am going to use gender as an IDV. Gender has got two categories. Put under horizontal axis and click on add. Write down this step. This is important. You have to tell the software that I am going to use gender as IDV to investigate so that CGPA of the students. Second is put socio-economic level. This is also going to be the second IDV and add into the list. Third is, कैसे करना है इसको? इसको मैं रिमूव कर देता हूँ। ये डाल दिया आपने, CGPA DV factors are two. One has got two categories, one has got three categories. You have to click on plots and you have to tell that kindly add gender on horizontal axis. Put socio-economic level into horizontal axis and add. तो दो वेरिएबल्स आपने ऐड कर लिए. Why we apply two-way NOVA? We apply two-way NOVA to check the interaction effect of the two. Horizontal भी. नीचे ऐड करना है ना, नीचे लिखा है ऐड चेंज एंड रिमूव. Put it there, click on add. वो ऐड नीचे आने चाहिए, प्लॉट्स में आने चाहिए. The next is gender into horizontal, socio-economic level into separate. अब इन दोनों को ऐसे पुट करिए. Gender into horizontal, socio-economic into separate lines. हाँ, अब interaction effect लेंगे. Now add. वैसे वर्षा भी कर सकते हैं. सो एक ही आएगा, a multiplied by b और b multiplied by a. Now you see in the plots, is there an interaction term? Our objective is whether this interaction term is significant or not. क्या मैं कंबाइंड इफेक्ट, जैसे मैंने स्टडी करी और मैं पास हो गया, मेरे फ्रेंड ने स्टडी करी और वो पास हो गया, मेरे फ्रेंड और मैंने दोनों ने कंबाइंड स्टडी करी और पास हो गए, तो ज्वाइंट स्टडी सक्सेसफुल थी या इंडिविजुअल स्टडी सक्सेसफुल थी? अगर मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव ज्वाइंट स्टडी को चेक करना है तो मैं टू वे नोवा लगाऊंगा, पहले अपना, फिर फ्रेंड का, फिर ज्वाइंट। ठीक है, डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल इज द मार्क्स, वाइल मैं और मेरा फ्रेंड, फिर मैं और मेरा फ्रेंड का कंबाइंड इफेक्ट। ठीक है, interaction term when you want to check for two factors and their interaction, you can work with the these things. Three plots, levels, combination of the two. तो क्या ये इकट्ठे भी काम करते हैं? Whether they are investigating the phenomena in a joint effect also, तो मॉडरेशन में इसको हम इंटरेक्शन मॉडरेशन बोलते हैं। बट फॉर नॉमिनल एंड ऑर्डिनल डेटा you can apply with two-way nova. So this is as robust test as SEM. दोनों में कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि SEM बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है। टू वे नोवा के साथ भी पेपर लोगों ने छापे, because they are parametric. We are talking about mean or interaction of demographics. So if we have collected data for demographics, we can do a lot of wonders also. We can write a paper with the age, gender, education, income, and such kind of demographics. Or I have seen people are not saturating demographics. अभी तो काई स्क्वायर वो पैरामीट्रिक है, नॉन पैरामीट्रिक दोनों ही है। काई स्क्वायर इज द ओनली टेस्ट व्हिच इज पैरामीट्रिक एंड नॉन पैरामीट्रिक। क्लिक ऑन पोस्टॉक। पोस्टॉक अभी हमने पोस्टॉक किया था, किसका किया था? जेंडर का किया था कि सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल का किया था? बिकॉज इट हैज गॉट थ्री कैटेगरीज, मोर देन टू। सो हियर वी विल पुट ओनली सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल इनटू पोस्टॉक, बिकॉज मोर देन टू तो इसी की थी कैटेगरीज, जेंडर की नहीं थी। सो नाउ आई कैन क्लिक एलएसडी। तो टू वे नोवा में वन वे नोवा भी चल रहा है, और वन वे नोवा में फर्दर तीन टी टेस्ट भी चल रहे हैं। तो पहले हमने टी किया, फिर वन वे नोवा किया, अब टू वे में सारे इंक्लूडेड है, ऑल इंक्लूडेड। ठीक है, तो फनल अप्रोच, छोटे से बड़े टेस्ट की तरफ आप जा सकते हैं। ये छोटा टेस्ट है आपका वन सैंपल, फिर इंडिपेंडेंट, फिर अनोवा, और फिर टू वे नोवा। तो एलएसडी, क्लिक ऑन कंटिन्यू, ऑप्शंस, क्लिक ऑन ऑप्शंस। डिस्प्ले मीन्स फॉर ओवरऑल, जेंडर, सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल और इंटरेक्शन टर्म, सबके रिजल्ट्स हमें चाहिए। वी वांट रिजल्ट्स फॉर ऑल। ओवरऑल सैंपल का भी चाहिए, जेंडर का भी चाहिए, सेल्स का भी चाहिए, और लेवल्स इनटू इंटरेक्शन टर्म्स का भी चाहिए। वी वांट डिस्क्रिप्टिव, तभी तो मीन आएगा। इसका मीन कितना है, इसका मीन कितना है, डिस्क्रिप्टिव। होमोजेनिटी टेस्ट, लवीन भी चाहिए। होमोजेनिटी क्या सेम थे? ऑप्शंस में जाना है। ऑप्शंस में आपको बताना पड़ेगा कि किसका डिस्प्ले लगाओ। यू नीड डिस्प्ले फॉर ऑल। ओवरऑल सिर्फ सीजीपीए, सीजीपीए इटसेल्फ, डीवी का, और देन फॉर जेंडर, देन फॉर सोशो इकोनॉमिक, देन फॉर इंटरेक्शन इफेक्ट। और सबके डिस्क्रिप्टिव चाहिए, चारों के। सीजीपीए का भी डिस्क्रिप्टिव चाहिए। एंड वी नीड कि क्या इनमें लिविंग होमोजेनिटी है कि नहीं है। आई गेस दीज आर एनफ। स्प्रेड नहीं चाहिए, इफेक्ट तो नहीं, छोड़ दो बाकी। क्लिक ऑन कंटिन्यू, click on continue and click on OK. And with these tables, now you are fit enough for good deal of data analysis. This is two-way NOVA. Now look at the table. Who is significant, who is insignificant variable? Gender is significant. Gender. The table is test of between subject effects. Whether gender is significant? No. Socioeconomic level significant? Yes. Interaction term? No. That means out of the three, we should focus on socioeconomic level. It matters on the this CGPA level of the students. जेंडर का सोशो इकोनॉमिक लेवल से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. जेंडर मल्टीप्लाइड बाय SCS लेवल. Test of between subject effects. Bring this table and then check the p value of gender, socioeconomic level, and gender into socioeconomic level. This is the way you have to report for two-way NOVA. बाकी सारी इसके अंदर वही चीजें हैं. If all the two values, all the three values are zero, तो y is equal to alpha. तो कुछ ना कुछ तो फिर भी नंबर आएंगे. अगर इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ जेंडर को हम फैक्टर ना ले और इकोनॉमिक लेवल भी हम सोचे कि सब बच्चे सेम है, तो तब भी बच्चों का कुछ सीजीपी आएगा और वो पास होंगे. मिनिमम स्कोर है, वो पास हो जाएंगे और वो सिग्निफिकेंट है. इंटरसेप्ट इज सिग्निफिकेंट. जनरली इंटरसेप्ट इज नॉट इंटरप्रेटेड लाइक विद p value, but if we still have to understand what is intercept, when all IDVs are zero, then something is there in y is equal to l. कांस्टेंट वही होगी. मतलब कुछ ना कुछ सेल्स तो फिर भी होगी. जैसे पैंडेमिक में दुकानें बंद हो गई, लोग बाहर नहीं जा सकते थे, पैसे नहीं आ रहे, तब भी कुछ तो सेल कर रहे थे दुकानदार. घरों में मोहल्ले में कुछ ना कुछ तो बेच ही रहे थे. तो दैट इज सम सेल इज देयर. तो दिस इज फाइन. टू वे नोवा इज ओके. नीचे आपको मिल जाएंगे सारे वही रिपीट. You can find in table number 1 grand mean, table number 2 gender का mean, table number 3 socio-economic level का mean, table number 4 gender into socio-economic level. Table number 4 is important. Just see table number 4. 1 2 3 तो basics है. Look at 4. In males के अंदर which category has got more mean? हाइट. और फीमेल्स में इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अमीर मेल्स और अमीर फीमेल्स इनके मार्क्स आते हैं. यही है ना. रिच मेल्स एंड रिच फीमेल्स. दैट इज व्हाई जेंडर वाज इनसिग्निफिकेंट वेरिएबल. मेल्स और फीमेल्स में कोई अंतर नहीं था. पढ़ते तो HIG वाले ही नंबर HIG के आ रहे हैं, तो वो भी अमीर मेल्स और अमीर फीमेल्स के आ रहे हैं. हाँ, ये एक मेजर वो जैसे खोद के निकालने वाली चीज है ना, कि डिग आउट करके कि रिच फीमेल्स आर मोर इंटेलिजेंट देन रिच मेल्स. ओवरऑल बॉयज वर बेटर देन द गर्ल्स. ओवरऑल बॉयज वर बेटर देन द गर्ल्स इस डेटा में. लेकिन रिच लड़कियां फिर भी उनसे बेटर है रिच लड़कों से. गुड फाइंडिंग. ऐसी LAG में दिखा सकते हैं कि गरीब लड़कियां ज्यादा पढ़ती हैं, उनका मीन ज्यादा है 3.08. गरीब लड़के वो फिर नहीं पढ़ रहे. राइट. जबकि मिडिल इनकम के लड़के ज्यादा पढ़ते हैं. दैट इज दी 3. और वो सबसे ज्यादा मतलब 3.455. सो कहां से वेरिएंस आ रही है? यहां से आ रही है वेरिएंस. अगर आ भी रही है, मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप के लड़के बॉयज. मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप में लड़कियां सबसे कम पढ़ रही हैं. वो सोशल मीडिया वही है, नॉट स्टडिंग. ठीक है, तो आप तो हाई फीमेल्स में होंगे ना, HIG में फीमेल्स होंगे। यू आर नॉट इनटू मिडिल इनकम, यू आर इनटू हाई इनकम ग्रुप, राइट? So two-way NOVA is done. Fine. Now you see that the parametric are so robust test. Do we have time? This is 120, 130. Okay, we have got 10 minutes now. We will see now the contrast of parametric test. ये सारी चीजें हम नॉन पैरामीट्रिक में करने वाले हैं। अगर ये पैरामीट्रिक, अगर हम अनोवा भी नहीं लगा सकते, वी कैन नॉट अप्लाई टी टेस्ट। अगर दिन में काम नहीं कर सकते तो रात में काम कर सकते हैं। जो बंदा दिन में नहीं पढ़ता वो रात में पढ़ता है। तो दिस इज द ओनली डिफरेंस बिटवीन पैरामीट्रिक एंड नॉन पैरामीट्रिक। ठीक है, इसका मतलब रात में पढ़ना कोई गलत नहीं है। फाइन। सो नॉन पैरामीट्रिक में ये सारी चीज करेंगे इसी फाइल के साथ। मनोवा थोड़ा इन मनोवा देर आर मल्टीपल डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स ऑल्सो। इसमें तो CGPA है, उसमें Y2 भी होगा, Y3 भी होगा, मोर देन वन, बट इंडिपेंडेंट डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स, आपस में रिलेटेड नहीं है। ठीक है, मनोवा में एक से ज्यादा डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल होंगे। और IDV में क्या होगा, मीट्रिक डेटा भी हो सकता है, नॉन मीट्रिक भी हो सकता है, राइट? तो मैं इसको लंच के बाद सेम करानी है ना आपको, तो वो उसमें आई विल कवर व्हाई, व्हेन टू अप्लाई सेम, व्हेन सेम इज आल्सो नॉट एप्लीकेबल, और मनोवा से काम चल रहा है, राइट? तो आईपी में थीसिस पढ़ी है मनोवा के साथ। दिस इज द मोस्ट कॉमनली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन इन द पैनल इन आईपी, व्हाई यू हैव अप्लाइड सेम, दिस कुड हैव बीन डन विद मनोवा आल्सो। सो इसका आंसर यही है, मनोवा में मल्टीपल डीवीज होते हैं एंड दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ ईच अदर, आपस में उनका रिलेशनशिप नहीं है। सैम में उनका भी रिलेशनशिप, दिस इज द ओनली डिफरेंस, इसलिए हमने सैम लगाया। सो लेट अस जस्ट कम टू, let us come to this non-parametric aspect. Okay, so uh, I guess online, if you have any queries, please tell me. I guess yes, Rupal madam, you can turn on your mic and tell me where is the query. Yes. So Shweta, I guess you are talking about Manova. We will discuss Manova and SEM post lunch, and why Manova is applicable, why Manova is not applicable. 95% confidence interval, what is lower bound and upper bound? Okay, Rupal, just have a look at the screen. This is look at this graph. Okay, let me just take you to hmm. Just have a look at this thing. -1 standard deviation, -2 standard deviation, -3 standard deviation, +1, +2 standard deviation, +3 standard deviation. I said alpha is 5%. Alpha is 5% and level of significance is taken at 5%. That means confidence interval is 95%, right? 5% is the area of rejection. And at alpha 5%, the results are taken ±2 standard deviation like this. This is my this is my acceptance region. This is my acceptance region, and this is 95% acceptance region. So this is my rejection region. Rejection region. So this is 2.5. That means from 0 to 2.5, this is the region. And from 2.5 to 95, this value comes here 97.5. And then rejection region comes here 97.5 to 100%. This is 2.5. This is rejection region. This is rejection region. So that is why the lower bound, the lower bound is called as 2.5% and upper bound is called as 97.5%. The value must fall in between the lower bound and upper bound. So this point is lower bound and this point is considered as upper bound, because in these two bounds your value should fall normal distribution के लिए, right? Okay, Rupal. 95% is the confidence interval at which we check the level of alpha, right? Rejection region 2.5, 2.5. Let me read any other query is there. Manova. Shweta says, are you using different data set? No, I'm using the same data set, CGPA of the students. Okay, right. So let us